Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and today we are going to button up all of the last little bits and pieces on Harry to finally get it ready for the road. Alright, well, first thing today we're going to have a look at is we need to still do a little bit more revision on my clutch slave cylinder. So the big thing that everybody was freaking out about last week was that this copper nickel brake line that I've got here, that it work hardens. Now, work hardening is, for those who sort of are not understanding, is basically when, if you bend a piece of metal, a lot of times it will snap. Let me do a demonstration. So let me do a bit of a demonstration here. This is a bit of a welding rod, and you can see how wobbly it is. And I can wobble it like that all day. It's not going to work hard and it's not going to be an issue. But it's because if you can bend a bit of metal far enough so that as long as it's spring, it comes back to shape, that's not getting to the stage where it's going to work harden. Like, basically what it means is when you actually bend it, so if you bend it so it doesn't come back to shape and then bend it back again and backwards and forwards, this bit's too short, but if I keep bending that backwards and forwards, once it's actually got a bend in it, it will break. But that is not going to make this break. You can do this all day, it won't have an issue. It's basically once you bend it, now that I've bent it and it stays that way, that will work, that's work hardening the metal. This here, I didn't show you the other side of the tube, but there is tons of flex in it. Actually, it's probably a little bit too much. So I'm not overly worried about it. There is so much room here. On this other side, it is really tight. On this bit here, there is plenty of flex room in there. So it's not going to work harden anytime soon. This engine doesn't actually move that much on these engine mounts. They're pretty firm. But I will replace it with a flex line at some stage. But I'm not overly concerned about it at this stage. But what I am concerned about is that this piece of this bracket that I made flexed in when I put my foot on the clutch, and that is not good. So what I want to do now, I've been looking around for a nice simple place to mount it, and I've worked out that back up here I can mount it on the top here. I can put another brace that I'll weld down to the bracket so that it gives it a little bit more triangulation and it shouldn't bend when I put my foot on the clutch pedal. It also make the clutch a little bit more positive again than what it is. It's good. It's really good at the moment. It's great. But just adding this last little bit of brace, I think is going to help. So let's get in and weld up this brace. All right, I've got my my brace here. It's a nice piece of angle iron. It should brace this up nice and sturdy against the engine mount. I'm going to get the car down, disconnect the ECU because I don't want to fry the ECU, and then I'll weld it in place. Alright, so we have it all finished. This is nice and solid now. There's still lots of movement in my brake line, so I am comfortable with that for the time being. So it's time to get the car down and start having a look on the inside. Alright, those of you who've been watching will have seen that the interior of this car is a big mess. I've been in and out of this thing for a while now, and obviously it's a few years since I put it together. It's just sort of been beaten up as I've jumped in and out, crawling down in this footwell and stuff. So it's time to start tidying it all up again. I've got to swap the seats back over to my proper seats. This seat I just put in because it's easier for the dyno and everybody to get in and out. I did finally manage to find another box of old parts. That's one of the issues with pulling a car apart 5 years ago and then trying to put it back together again. But I found my steering wheel nut. I've also found the horn ring, which I swapped over from my old Boss kit, so I can get the horn working. So that's my task now, is to try and fit this steering wheel back up and get the horn working. One of the issues I did find was that the factory covers, when I made this backing tartan piece, it doesn't actually allow the factory column cover to fit. So I've got to mark that out now and see if I can trim them and get the space I need for this to work. All right, steering wheel's on, dash is looking great. I've done a bit of a clean up on the interior, so it's looking much nicer in here now. And before I close up the tunnel here, I think it's time to change over those gear stick bushings. So I've got the coupler out of the car, and it's quite loose. There's these two black bushings that are in here. I need to press the pin out that's in the middle of them. I've bought new bushings, they're quite cheap, and that should get rid of a lot of slop out of the system. No, no, no! Well, that's fantastic. I was trying to press this out and I broke the coupler. So word to the wise, it actually has these bushings on the inside. I've got to try and work out how you would clamp this solid so you push only against this part, because when I was pushing down, the bushings were taking up the slack. I just sort of kept pushing, and it's really lightweight cast aluminium, and it snapped. Fantastic. All right, well, that is a real pain, and I just rang up to try and order one, and they don't have anything in stock until next week. And as I really want to try and get this car engineered, I cannot drive it without having this going. So I'm going to try and weld it. I don't know how well it's going to go. It looks and feels like it's cast aluminium, so I'm going with cast aluminium. So I am going to clean this all up, get out the TIG welder, and then see if I can actually weld this thing back together. It might be a long shot, it probably is, but I don't have much to lose. You can see that I ground a groove into either side, but I left the inner edge still there so that it could all line up nicely. It's back. It's exactly where it came off. I've got the TIG welder started up. I am far from an expert TIG welder, particularly aluminium. I have very little experience, but I have been trying to practice a little bit of cast aluminium stuff for my other crazy project, which may be this week. So let's see if we can actually weld this thing together. I've got nothing to lose. Well, it wasn't pretty. There's lots of nasty inclusions in it. It obviously is not very nice, neat cast. So it was coughing and spitting and blowing bubbles and all sorts of stuff. But that's relatively solid now. So I'm going to run with it for the time being. That will do for now. Let's see if we can press this pin back into it without actually breaking it again. I got the new bushings in and I was just putting the pin in and it cracked all the way through again. But actually for the time being, that's solid enough to probably get me through getting it on the road. It's not great, but it will do while I order this next piece. It's going to be another week or so until I can get a new one. Really frustrating. Let's put it back in the car and keep moving. So the interior is mostly back in. We are looking pretty good. We still have a bit of tidying up to do. There's a few rough edges, but we're getting close. All right, so one of the last things I need to do to actually get this car driving is to get it to start properly. As you saw last week, blow my smoke rings, the car does not start and run very well at all at the moment. That is a lot to do with the cold start tune that I've got. So I contacted Adam at Link in New Zealand. He sent me a map that he used on a previous 911 to get a cold start. I've inputted a lot of those numbers into this map and uploaded this map to the ECU. I'm going to now start the car and watch my Lambda. So the Lambda is obviously on the wideband sensors, not the Lambada. And I'll be monitoring that and trying to keep it. I want it a little bit richer to start with, and then we'll lean it out as we go. I've uploaded the new table. This is from another car, but we'll just we'll give it a go. It's starting to come up to temperature a little bit better, and it took a while to start, but once it starts, the Lambda reading is looking pretty good. I'm taking a log now, and I'll send it through to Adam and see what he thinks and see if we can actually get it going. But I mean, this is still sounding much better than it was last time. Last time it took ages to get it to sit nicely. It's idling. So far, so good. Okay, well, it definitely needs some work. That cold start is not sorted. There's still a lot of bits and pieces to do, but we're very close. I'm going to actually send this log now to Adam at Link in New Zealand. Hopefully he will have a bit of a look at it for me and see if he can help guide me in tuning the cold start and getting that all running properly, because I really don't know what I'm doing. I can see all the parameters and see what things are, but yeah, I have no idea. Anyway, that is it for another episode. I do actually now have a short piece of flex line that I can actually put in. In fact, wait 1 minute. Yes, those of you who are going to get upset, I have actually gone and I've got a piece of flexible braided line here that I can put into that clutch system. So that will all be ready to go. We're very close now. There's just a few little finishing touches, and hopefully we can get this thing engineered, ready for the road, and then we can register it. Yay! Anyway, that's it for this week. As always, if you're enjoying the videos, like and subscribe, hit the little bell thing and let you know when I've uploaded something else stupid. And you can join us on Patreon that watches the videos a day before everybody else, and you also help out these builds, of course. PorschePartsByJeff.com, searching for your parts. All right, guys, see you next time.